Welcome back to 360 Sports Network. I'm Greg Fischero, and with me tonight is a special guest. No, not James Dotson. He's our regular, and he's with us tonight as well. But with us tonight, we have Greg Rohan, who is a third baseman with the Iowa Cubs, AAA affiliate of the Chicago Cubs. Gentlemen, Greg, how are you?
Greg, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. It's a real honor basically talking with you here and talking to somebody that's a hometown boy made good here, it sounds like. At least that's what we're hoping here. So,
yeah, hoping so.
Yeah. Looking at some of the stuff, you graduated from South Range High School?
Yep, graduated from South Range back in 2004 now.
Wow. Now, back in 2004, when you were standing there getting ready to graduate from South Range, did you know that you were going to go the path of baseball?
No, I didn't. I signed a scholarship to go to Kent State University to play baseball, and that's always in your mind to stay on track and go as far as you can go. But I definitely didn't see my track going this way.
Now, what happened between to basically, obviously, different life events happen that basically say, oh, maybe I'll try this or try this path. What happened here that basically caused you to kind of pursue baseball as a full-time career choice?
Well, growing up, I always wanted to be a baseball player. Watching the Indians, I grew up as a huge Tribes fan, and as you guys know, back in '95, '97, those teams really got me hooked with. Jim Thome, Albert Bell, Manny Ramirez, those guys were really good to idolize and look up to. And it's pretty much all I wanted to do was be a baseball player. And that led into high school and summer ball in high school. And then, like I said, I signed for a scholarship at Kent State to play. And when I got to Kent State, that was just another thing to do. I wanted to always keep moving and turn into the best player I could become and maybe one day get drafted. And then I was fortunate enough to get drafted by a great organization like the Chicago Cubs, and like you said a little bit earlier, I just finished the year in Iowa.
Wow! What was it like that day when your name was called and you heard that you were a member of the Cubbies?
Oh, I mean, with the tradition that the Cubs have and what a great organization they have, I couldn't be happier, to tell you the truth. I had a roommate, kind of a short, funny story. I had a roommate in college. His name was Chris Carpenter, and we were roommates in college, and he had gotten drafted by the Cubs the year before. So it was just fitting I got drafted as well, and we actually were roommates in the off-season as well. It was a good transition for me.
Now, this year, looking at the stats, batting just under 300, been with everybody, been down in Daytona, down in Tennessee, finishing up in Iowa. Where's been your favorite place to play in the Cubs farm system?
Oh, I mean, they're all great places to play, all the way from Mesa. You wouldn't think there'd be a lot of Cubs fans out there, but from Mesa, Boise, Peoria, and then this year Daytona, Kodak, Tennessee, and then Des Moines, Iowa. The Cubs following is just unbelievable. I can't imagine an organization that has, if there is many organizations that have better ones than the Cubs have. Anywhere you go, they make you feel right at home, and the Cubs fans are just unbelievable. It was great playing at all those places, to tell you the truth.
All right, Greg. Now, it's interesting you should mention that because I've always found that minor league baseball fans are the true blue baseball fans that are out there. Obviously, we've been blessed out here in the East and even in the Midwest area here, having teams like Cleveland and Pittsburgh and, and even Chicago that we can, no matter where you are, you're always within at least a 3 to 4 hour drive of a major league ballpark. But what's it like out there being a AAA player on a day-to-day type basis and experiencing baseball at this level?
I mean, it was very, very, very good. I liked it a lot, to tell you the truth. As you move up in the minors, you see different things, and they start treating you a little bit more like, I guess you could say, a major league player. The food changes a little bit, and then people start packing your bags for you when you're in when you get to Double A, and then once you get to Triple A, it's close. You fly everywhere, and they take care of you. With all those off the field perks that they have, I mean, playing on the field was excellent as well. I got to play with a lot of guys who played in the big leagues. I think everyone on my team did this year, other than I think there was 3 of us maybe that didn't get up this year. But it's a great experience to get to AAA.
Now, what would you give for advice? I mean, I'm a current high school baseball coach. What advice would you give to a kid out there who's thinking maybe that same thing? You know, maybe I'll play ball after high school, but it probably won't get me anywhere. What do you say to a kid like that to encourage him to keep on going?
I think if you follow your goals and you set goals, that's one thing that I do before every season starts and before every off season starts. I kind of set a goal and sit down and think to myself or maybe somebody in my family and say, where do I want to be in 3 months? What can I do to make myself the best baseball player I can make myself? Because the goal is to become as good as you can get so that a school or a professional organization looks at you and says, I want this guy to play on our team one way or another, so that they want to make that happen. And all that goes back to working out in the off season, us being from the north or the Midwest. It snows a lot, so you got to get in those batting cages and those batting barns where they're cold and everything, and you just got to get your swings in. You got to work on your arm. You just got to keep that goal in mind that one day you want to play in the big leagues. And I think if you let that keep chipping at you every day, it's going to help you out with your workouts and really keep you focused.
So basically, it's the little things that you do that make all the difference, but still keeping the big picture in mind. Then is what you're saying.
Yes, definitely. Yep, I think you gotta keep your priorities straight and really do the little things as well as you can, and I think it'll add up to big things one day, hopefully.
You know, it's interesting. You said, in the winter months, going out there to the batting barns, so to speak, the batting cages, and just keep chipping away at things. Obviously, we are rounding into October now, and playoff baseball, and of course, teams like the Cubs aren't quite there yet. I think if you get to the Cubs, you'll probably take them to that level. We hope, but getting back to this thing, what's a typical off season like for you? When does your off season begin with AAA ball, and when do you get ready for spring ball?
They're different every year, to tell you the truth. This year, I'm planning on playing winter ball, which is down in the Caribbean, somewhere either in the Venezuelan League or Mexican League or Dominican League. So I have that coming up actually in a week or so, finding out where I'll be or where I'll be playing. So that'll change up my off-season workouts a lot. Winter ball will last a couple months and could last all the way into January. And that would change a lot of the weight training and conditioning and hitting and stuff. But it allows you to get a lot of good at-bats and play against some of the top competition in the world and really sculpt yourself as a player.
Well, especially the Dominican leagues, my goodness. I mean, that's a league where you have a lot of shortstops that make the pros come out of there.
Yeah, definitely. I know in all 4 or all 3 of those leagues I mentioned, a lot of big leaguers will go over there and in the winter months they'll play, get themselves ready for spring training in a real good spring.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's a typical workout regimen like for you?
Typical workout regimen, I'll just give you the day-to-day. I'll probably get up in the morning early, and like the last off-season, I got invited to work out in Mesa, Arizona at the Cubs Spring Training Complex. So there was a few of us out there, and we had a regimen with the weight trainers out there, and we'd get there around 8 and have cardio and conditioning and lifting and all that stuff, depending if we're doing upper body, lower body, muscle-specific workouts. And then we'd eat a little bit of lunch, and then we'd go into our baseball workouts. We'd be throwing ground balls, hitting. So we'd get out of there around 2. So that's a 8 o'clock to about 2 o'clock workout, just trying to get yourself better.
Now, you're listed on most scorecards or whatever, playing multiple positions, first base, third base, outfield, obviously DH at times too. What do you or how has that helped you in terms of your development and moving up through the farm system?
I'd have to say that's one of the biggest things that's helped me, and while being a thing that helps me, it's also the biggest challenge for me, I think, because playing different positions, usually not every day, but being able to play different positions gets tough sometimes, moving from third base to left field or playing first base for 5 days in a row or something like that. It's kind of difficult as a player, and I think that's one thing you need to get good at is kind of getting your mindset right that today I'm going to be the best third baseman I could be today. And then tomorrow, wherever I am, that helps me out. And that always is good for a manager as well. If a player's hitting and swinging the bat well, and you can also play him in 4 different positions, including DH, I think that helps out the manager getting your name in the lineup.
Yeah, being a utility infielder definitely has to be a kind of a tough type of position. Now, what is the biggest challenge, other than the mindset, I guess? That is it the footwork, playing the different positions?
Yeah, I mean, it's just being comfortable at the position. The throws, like from third base, throwing a second, throwing a first, just your reaction and everything. And I think that's what the minors is for. That's one good thing that you get out of minor league baseball is every day I'm working at different positions, trying to become the best left fielder, third baseman, first baseman, right fielder, best fielder I can become, so that I could eventually move up.
Well, and that's what we tell the kids every day when they're practicing, putting them in different positions. The more positions that you can play, the better chance that a manager has to be able to put you in the game somewhere. And the same works here. You're working your way up through the system. If the big leagues is in need of a third baseman for a while, you can play it. If they need a left fielder, you can play it. I think you hit the nail right on the head. That's probably one of the biggest aspects in terms of being valuable for an organization is being those different positions.
I think especially in the National League where the Cubs are, in the American League, DHing is always available, but with the Cubs, you don't have that DH, that pitcher's hitting. So being able to play different positions with double switches, I'm sure you guys are familiar with double switches. When they take that pitcher out in the National League, they usually will double switch position player, and guys move around all the time. So the more positions you can play, the better.
Yeah, we're familiar with double switches as Pirate fans.
Yeah, definitely.
We see that out quite often there. What's it like now? Obviously, you can get called up at any given point in time. Do they give you any type of advance notice or inkling, or they just say, okay, you got 24 hours to get to your next destination?
Yeah, they don't give you any pre-notice, I guess. Usually how it happens in the minor leagues, moving from level to level, and then eventually to the big leagues, is you'll play a game, and after the game's over, there'll be a dinner set out for the team and food for everyone to eat. And usually the manager will come into the locker room and call somebody in, and they send you in the room, and all the coaches will be there, and they'll either send you up or send you down. So that's the notice they'll give you, and usually after you get moved up, you'll be flying out the next morning at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning, the first flight, and you'll be in uniform the next night.
Wow. So they really don't give you much time to turn around. You've got to be pretty much on your toes pretty much all the time.
Yeah, you're always living out of a couple suitcases and always have your life ready to move. Like when I was in Daytona this year, I got called after the game and told me I was moving up, and I had an apartment down there or a little condo down there, and went home that night, packed until about 3:30 in the morning or 4, and a taxi picked me up at 4:30 to take me to the airport.
Wow.
So I moved my life to Tennessee and then did the same thing on the way to Iowa.
Wow. Now, obviously, in the minor leagues, guys like you are definitely going up the ladder, and occasionally, as you're going up the ladder, you see guys that are starting to come down the ladder. You seen some of that happen?
Yeah, definitely. With what the Cubs are going through, a lot of that's been happening. Guys, they want to see some different guys play, and guys move up and down all the time. It's just they let you know pretty much what you need to work on and give you some advice wherever you're going to kind of work on a specific thing, and so you can get back to where you were.
So you have a good rapport then, even with the guys, let's say, that have got called back. You think in your professional life, getting called back and almost like getting a demotion, they wouldn't be too happy about it. But it's not like that in baseball, or?
Yeah, I mean, what are you asking? If you're kind of upset if you get demoted?
Yeah, I mean, you run into a lot of emotional issues with some of these guys that got demoted or kicked back down to Triple-A ball. You know, they've been playing out in the majors for maybe 2 or 3 years, and they're starting to slump, and they get called back to, Triple-A ball with like the Iowa Cubs, for instance. Do you run into a lot of emotional situations like that with these guys, or is it just like, well, it's just another day at the ballpark, another day at work?
No, I think you can definitely tell guys get upset, and I think that's normal because everyone's got their foot on the gas, to tell you the truth, to get to the big league. So you never want to kind of take a step back or repeat what you once did to get out of there. So guys definitely get upset, and I think it goes into the mindset again. It's tough to kind of get over that, but I think the quicker you get over it, the quicker you're going to be able to get back in your routine and get back to what team you came from.
One of the things I've noticed about professional baseball is that there are teams out there that are almost identical as far as player personnel goes, and as far as talent-wise and everything. And teams they'll have such incredible surges, and then they'll just go through the most incredible slumps for no apparent reason whatsoever. What do you do as a player if you start to get into a slump? How do you get yourself out of a situation? Like, for instance, the Pirates are a perfect example of this, the Pittsburgh Pirates. During the month of June, they were in Fuego, with McCutcheon and company and all that stuff. Now, obviously, I'm talking about a team that's a rival of your team, obviously, the Cubs. But during the month of September, actually the last part of August and September, they couldn't buy themselves out of a paper bag. Yet they're essentially the same team.
Yeah, I think it's tough. That's what's so crazy about baseball is a lot of other sports are kind of a sprint. You got one game and then you got a week off or a few days off. And baseball, you play 162 games and you're playing back to back to back to back. So when stuff starts going sour, it seems to get real bad. And I think a lot of managers and organizations try to have all the players relax and not get too worried about it and kind of calm everybody down so something like that doesn't happen. And you talking about the Pirates and the struggles they're experiencing right now, I think it's just one thing adds up after another. Next thing you know, you lost 4 or 5 in a row, and everyone's magnifying it as, oh my gosh, what's going on? This team, everything's going bad. What can we do to get better? And a lot of times in baseball, you just need to keep getting back to your general routine and hitting early, getting to the ball field early, really getting your mindset ready so that you can get out of a funk like that.
Now, you're mentioning it with all these games that are played, especially in the minors when you're having to travel a little bit more, it seems like, or when you're not having the opportunity to fly everywhere you go. And the only experience that fans really will get to see of that sort of thing is from TV, from movies, such as The Rookie. I think is the best one that really gives an idea of minor league life. What is it really like going out there playing day after day, sometimes having long road trips, 3 or 4 hours maybe in a bus just to play the very next morning?
I mean, it's definitely tough. That's a great question. People look at it as they'd give anything to play baseball, and to tell you the truth, everyone playing probably would. But it gets tough at times, being away from family and friends for 6, 7, 8 months out of the year and having to play all those games. It's tough playing a baseball game and getting done around 11 and then having a day game the next day in a city that's maybe 5 or 6 hours away, getting into a hotel real early and then having a day game the next day. I mean, those are tough things that people really don't notice about minor league baseball. A lot of people don't realize, but it's definitely a marathon. And one day, that's why you got to wash it one day, no matter if you go 2 for 4 with 2 home runs or you go 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. You definitely have to have a short memory, that's for sure.
Is that something you just get used to after time? I mean, do you just get used to that after a long time going in, or is it something you really can never get used to in terms of just I got to keep on going over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, I think you definitely.
And when does it become too much?
I think that happens. It's different for every player. I think for me, once I first got drafted and going to Boise, Idaho, I played in the Northwest League. It was kind of tough for me all the travel. I was used to traveling in college at Kent State University, but I wasn't used to these 15-hour bus rides and then playing a game. And it kind of was a shock to me. But as I went on, I just finished my third full season, my fourth pro season. You kind of get into a routine and realize that it gets a lot easier for me, to tell you the truth. This season, like, everything runs a lot smoother, and you just realize it is what it is, and you keep your number one goal in mind.
It's almost like being almost like a door-to-door salesman in a way. It's just it's the journey that basically keeps you going.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey, and hopefully it pays off.
Well, that's great. Now, you're truly blessed to have a great family behind you there, too. Met your mom and dad and your brother, and I take it they do quite a bit of traveling to go visit you while you're at different venues.
Yeah, I can't even start to explain about how my family is, and I have a very large family. My mom's got 7 sisters and a brother. My dad's got 6 brothers, and a very close family. And I can't tell you how happy and how easy it makes it. They back me so much and root for me so much. I get phone calls. I'll have a good game. I'll have 5 or 6 phone calls from different uncles want to talk about the game and stuff. I can't tell you.
Unbelievable to be able to hear
like
something
how
like
good
this.
It makes you feel as a player.
Obviously, I never got a chance to even get close to your level. It's fun to hear firsthand what it's like to go through this process.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, looking into it before I got into it, I just assumed oh my gosh, minor league baseball, like these guys. I'd go to baseball games and watch games and couldn't believe how good the guys were and how good it would be to be in that position. And then you get in that position and you realize that there's some things that come with it that are tough that you need to get used to. But with all that aside, and the travel, being away and everything, I wouldn't change it. I love the game of baseball, and want to do my best to make it up to the major league level as soon as I can.
Well, that's awesome. Now, I know you're not making the multi-million-dollar salaries that you could be making in the pros, but do they give you a decent living wage to work off of in the minor leagues?
There's a minimum like not a minimum. I can't find the word. It's a regular rate throughout the whole minor leagues for each level, for each organization. So a guy playing in Double-A for the Rangers and a guy playing in the Double-A for the Cubs is getting paid the same.
Okay. So, I mean, it's something that they could basically live off of. They're not basically, starving to death or looking for their next meal while they're playing ball then.
Yeah, I think a lot of movies portray that, and I think it used to be like that. But nowadays, they take care of the players, and you're definitely not living in luxury, but they take care of you. They with meal money and food all the time, and they pay you okay, I should say. So definitely not scrounging for good.
Good. Now, you're not getting Great Please every night, obviously, but
I'd give up the money to get Great Please every night.
Oh, I'll tell you, no doubt about it. Hey, real quick here, I know we talked a little bit about how you got into the minor leagues and all that, but what was the thing that basically sparked you or kind of got you? Obviously, you went to Kent State and you traveled with the Kent State baseball team. What was that moment that you knew that I'm going to go into the draft and see what happens, or how did that happen?
And actually, moving up from my freshman and sophomore year in college at Kent, I saw guys older than me getting drafted and that I had played with, and got to see them in the off season when they came back each fall after their seasons have ended, and talking to them and just seeing how good and how happy they were. I think it really drove me to want to get drafted. And when it comes to the draft, you really don't enter the draft. Scouts that are interested will talk to you or talk to your coach or your advisor if you have one when you're in school. And will let you know that they might be interested in you. And my junior year in college, I was MAC Player of the Year in the Mid-American Conference, and I had a pretty good year. I ended up being an All-American and everything, and I was very fortunate to have a good year. And I kind of thought maybe I had a chance to get drafted. And to tell you the truth, I talked to a bunch of organizations that said they were interested and wanted to know, like, was I interested in playing baseball for a career and all this? And I said, definitely. And my junior year, I didn't end up getting drafted, and it didn't end up working out. And the funny thing about baseball is I went back my senior year, had a good year as well. I wasn't MAC Player of the Year again, but I had a good year as well, and I ended up getting drafted that year. So I guess you just wait your chance and hope and kind of pray that somebody gives you a chance to play.
There you go. Now, obviously, you graduated from Kent State. What's your degree in?
I actually, because I got redshirted, I had elbow surgery, I graduated with a double major in finance and marketing.
Wow. Yeah. So you're definitely setting yourself up for life after baseball, which is, I think, really, really necessary for a lot of guys to do.
Oh, yeah. My little brother is a sophomore at the University of Akron. He plays there. He's a baseball player there. And that's one thing I preach to him all the time, because people told me that all the time, and I kind of was like, you know what, I want to try my best to do baseball. I'll do good in school, but you definitely have to give 120% to all your schoolwork and try and do the best you can, because you never know.
Well, coming from a traditional Lebanese family, schoolwork comes before anything else. It's one thing that was beaten to my head by my Situ and my mom and my dad and my Jiddu. So I know where you're coming from.
Definitely.
Well, not to mention, all it takes. I mean, you were fortunate to be able to recover from the injury that you had that you got redshirted. Sometimes it's just not going to happen that way.
Yeah, very fortunate. I actually fractured my elbow throwing, and a lot of guys don't come back from that. I mean, you could tear your ACL, you could blow your arm out next throw. You never know.
Yeah. Well, Greg, it's a pleasure. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I know you're flying out to Los Angeles tomorrow, and I wish you all the best. Hope to someday catch you once you do meet the pros. And also, I'd like to extend to you an opportunity to be a contributor to 360 Sports Network. We have a Twitter account here. If you want to do a regular Twitter feed to us, this is a site by the fans and for the fans. And giving a unique insight to the game itself. You certainly have through this interview, and we'd love to have you as a regular contributor to our site.
I will. I'll follow you guys for sure. As soon as we get off here, I'll make sure I get on Twitter and follow you guys, because I'm really getting into the Twitter thing. A lot of my teammates and friends are in it, and I think it's a very good thing.
Very, very good. I appreciate everything. I love the insight. I love hearing from a guy who's starting from, small town area and to go all the way up and live the dream. That's the great stories that we love to talk about.
Hey, it was great talking to you guys. I appreciate everything, seriously.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much, and a special thanks to your dad for making this thing happen here as well. Greg, you take care, stay safe, and we'll be talking to you on the other side somewhere.
Yep, hopefully I talk to you guys soon.